Hello and welcome to Education at SSBJ online video tutorial. In this video tutorial, we are going to start a new chapter, and that is chapter number 9 of class 9th, Force and Laws of Motion. So far, you have studied about motion, types, velocity, acceleration in the previous chapter, right? As far as motion is concerned, we know that change of position, right? Change of position with respect to time. If a body covers a distance with respect to time, then suppose if a car moves and after 1 second if it covers 1 meter distance, 2 second it covers 2 meter distance, 3 second it covers some other distance, let's say 5 meter distance. So change of distance with respect to time, this is what the meaning of motion is. And within the motion we have seen the different types of motion such as uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Please recall, uniform motion is that motion where equal distance is covered in equal intervals of time. Suppose if I can write time here and distance here, right? In short, I'll write distance. For the first second, if it covers 2 meter distance, in the next second, if it is to be uniform, it should cover 4 meter distance, and then in the third second it should cover 6 meter distance. So equal distance is covered in equal intervals of time of 1 second. So then it is called uniform motion, and if this is not followed, if this particular thing is not followed, then it is non-uniform motion, right? And then we have seen what is non-uniform motion here. Unequal distance is covered. And then we have also seen definition of speed, right? And how is the speed different from a velocity, right? Speed is distance covered in unit time, and it can be calculated by just divide distance by time, right? But velocity, again, it's a distance covered in unit time, but there is a direction which is associated with this velocity. That is what the difference. Velocity is a vector quantity and speed is a scalar quantity, and scalar quantity has got only a magnitude, right? And vector will have magnitude as well as direction. After that, we have seen in the velocity, uniform velocity as well as non-uniform velocity. And what is uniform velocity? Equal velocity. A velocity changes in equal amount. Velocity changes in equal amount, right? And how is that? Suppose if I write time here and velocity here, in the same way what we have seen in uniform motion, 1 second it will be 1 meter per second suppose, and in 2 seconds it should be 2 meter per second, and 3 seconds it should be 3 meter per second. So equal change in the velocity for every interval of time, that is uniform velocity. And non-uniform velocity is again opposite of this. If it covers 1 meter per second first, and then suddenly it rises 3 meter per second, and then again it comes to 2 meter per second speed, velocity, then it is non-uniform velocity. We have studied about the graph, right? And then when the velocity changes, either increase or decrease, then that causes acceleration or deceleration. This was what we have studied in the previous chapter and many more related to this chapter. But we have not focused so far that what is that which makes the motion possible. What is that, right? What is that external agency which makes the speed possible or velocity possible? Why velocity changes sometimes and leads to acceleration or deceleration? What is that external agency? And that is what we are going to learn in this chapter, and that is the agency, we call it as force, right? Now please recall the lessons of 8th class. We have studied the effects of force, and we all know that what does a force do, right? we had studied in the previous class that force is pull or push. Okay, right? So we will go for a more refined definition in this class. You are in 9th class now, right? Keeping definition of this force which we have studied in the previous classes, pull or push, will go ahead now. You are in 9th class, and therefore to understand the definition of the force, will go for the effects of force. What does the force do? Okay, force makes the body to move, right? If a object is here and you apply force, and then the body will move further, and you still apply force, it will increase in its speed. Increase speed. And therefore you can write the first effect of force is force can change the speed of the body, right? It can make a body which is at rest to move. So first one is force can change the speed of the body. It can make the stationary body which is at rest to move, right? Or to increase or to decrease, right? Now second one is a force can change the direction, right? A cricket player can change the direction of the ball. A hockey player can change the direction of the ball, right? In the same way, a force can change the direction of the motion of the body, right? And the third one is force can change the shape of the body. You can press on any, rubber ball, and it will change the shape of the body, right? But actually, you see, a force, you find that it changes the shape of the body. But if you try to change the shape of the body of a rock, it doesn't do, but it tends to change, it tries to change. There is a force, right? That's why we use the word tends to change. A force will tends to change the speed of the body. It may change or it will try to change, right? And therefore we can now define force as follows. And what is the definition of force for you in 9th class? Simple. That definition is a combination of the effects of force. And what is that? A force is an influence or an agency, external agency. It is always applied from outside, which tends to, as I said, tends to change stationary body. What is stationary body? The body which is at rest, in motion, or which tends to change the speed or the direction of the moving body, even the shape of the body. And that external agency is called force, right? And among the force, what we have studied in previous classes are balanced force and unbalanced force, right? If you talk of an object which is at rest, right? This is a body which is at rest. And why is at rest? Right? There is a force already acted on it, and that is a gravitational force. But still it is at rest because it is on the table, right? And table, okay. And now this table provides a force which is opposite to the gravitational force, and together they make the body to be at rest. Okay, please don't think that there is no force which is applied on the body which is at rest, but there are more than one forces which are applied on this body, but still it is at rest, and that force is called balanced force, right? The body, if it is at rest, you should consider it as there are the forces on that object, on the body, which are called balanced forces. For example, an object is pushed down with the force of 1 Newton. And what is Newton? Newton is SI unit of force. So please remember this. If it is forced by 1 Newton of force, and then again from the down it is 1 Newton of force, and from the left and right it is again 1 Newton of force, then these forces are all balanced forces. Okay, but if suppose if the object is moving, and it is moving because there is some resultant force, right? For example, there is a body where you apply a force on this body which is 10 newtons, and someone else is applying a force which is a 5 newton in opposite direction. Consider this as a straight line, right? So what is the total effect of this force? The body will move in this direction with how much of force? 5 newtons of force. Because since they are opposite, the final force is 10 newtons minus 5 newtons, which is equal to 5 newton in this direction, and that is the resultant force which you have already studied. Okay, this is called resultant force. Now, if there is a resultant force on the body which is more than 0, right, then the object will move, and those forces are called unbalanced forces. Now if I ask a question, what is the resultant force on this body? How much? It's 0, and that's why it is not moving. And here the resultant force is more than 0, right? Depends on how much of force you apply, how much of friction there is existing, right? Initially, people thought that object which is there in this universe is at rest, which is a natural state. Naturally they are there at rest, natural state. But in the recent past, during Galileo Galilei, and more to be told about Isaac Newton, right? They said that the body will move when the object is applied on some force. Without that, the body doesn't move. Okay, and that gave rise to the branch of science called classical mechanics, right? And particularly what we are going to study are the laws of motion given by Isaac Newton, and therefore they are called Newton's laws of motion. So what he has done, he has just observed the different types of motion and the reason why and how, and then he started putting it in the form of equations, and they are the laws, right? So now in this chapter we are going to learn those laws of motion. So here the entire contribution of Isaac Newton for the concept of motion, in brief, we are going to learn in class 9th, which is a base for you to study the syllabus in class 11th as well as 12th and for all other examinations. Well, now we will go to a particular site. I can show you the link here, and this site will provide you as many as simulations where you can straightway visit and understand the concept, right? I have picked up a concept where you can see here a force, then sum of the forces, and mass, speed, acceleration, all together we can analyze here in this. And that is where exactly Newton comes into picture. What Newton has said is, when the body is at rest, suppose this person who is weighing 80 kg, and suppose if he is at rest, or if I can take him here and keep a bucket of 100 kg here, any body which is already at rest, Newton said it is the property of the body to be at rest in case if it is already at rest. right? Let me repeat this sentence. If the body is at rest, like this 50 kg body is at rest, rest means it is not moving. If so, then it is its property to be at rest, right? Unless an external force, see there is no force here, look at this, 0 newtons. Newton is the standard unit of force and there is no force on this. Now I am going to increase, here you can increase the force, right? When you increase the force here, look at the friction force there. For 50 kg mass, when it is there on the floor, definitely there will be a force which is called friction force, which doesn't allow us to push it and to put it in motion, right? Now we should apply more force so that we should come above, our force should come above the friction force. Now look at this, 146 is the friction force and then 165 is the friction force, right? And that is what the friction force, right, a 50 kg body will have. And now you can see that. You can see that till here there is still a friction force which doesn't allow this man to push. The moment you overcome the friction force, and to overcome the friction force you have to apply more force, and then a combination of your force and the friction force, which is opposite force, result into a resultant force which is 74 Newton. And now this body is moving with an acceleration of 2.08 meter per second. Look at this. The moment you continue with the same force now, a speed is increasing, right? So what is to be understood is a body which is at rest, the body which is at rest continues to be at rest unless an object, a force is applied on that object, right? And then only it will move. Otherwise, with no force or a balanced force, it will be at rest only. It's a property of the body, right? So this is one point. And what is that point? A body which is at rest continues to be at rest unless and until an application of force is on it, right? So please remember this point. We'll go for the next point now. Try to understand the situation now. Suppose if I apply force on this 50 kg body, right? So I'm going to apply force on one side. So initially there is a problem because there is a friction force, right? I apply it and then I'll leave that, okay? So 500 almost Newton of force I have applied and then I left it, right? And then after some time object comes to rest. If I ask you why it comes to rest, definitely the answer is a friction force. And where is the friction force? Friction force is between the floor as well as the 50 kg object. Let me repeat this. I have applied a 500 newtons of force, right? And then leave it. Okay. For some time, the body will move, and after some time, the object will come to rest because of friction force. In case suppose if I make a friction 0, so I can handle the friction here. I am making the friction 0. Generally it is very difficult to make the friction 0. But suppose the condition is now friction is not at all there, right? And now I am going to apply a 500 Newton of force and leave it. And you will find since there is no friction, the body will continue to move. The body which is in motion will continue to be in motion, right? That is the second point which we need to understand. If a body is in motion in the universe, he said it will continue to be in the motion, but we don't see that. If the body is in motion, it comes to rest. Why? Because there is a force acted on it. In this case, suppose if I make the friction more, and then it comes to rest. So what is the conclusion? A body which is in motion continues to be in motion unless a force is acted on it. So what can we conclude now? That a body, if it is at rest, it continues to be at rest. A body, if it is in motion, it continues to be in motion. But wait, unless an external force is acted on it. This is a conclusion of today's video tutorial. Please remember it, because this property of a body which is to be at rest and which is to be in motion, if they are already at rest and motion respectively, this property is called inertia, right? The property of a body which is at rest to continue to be at rest, or the property of a body which is in motion if it is already in motion, and that property is called inertia. The statement which you see right in front of you is the first law of motion given by Newton. So please remember it. We'll continue from here in the next video tutorial.